Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello. I can't hear. I am not audible. Hello, Sneha.
Sir, you are audible.
Can we start?
Yes, sir.
I can't hear the voice. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Hello, Sneha.
Yes, sir.
Can we start class now?
Okay, sir.
Or we will wait at least 5 minutes for the students?
Okay,
Hello.
sir.
I am audible.
Yes, sir.
How many students? They have not planned to turn up. Can we start now? I see only one you, Sneha. Nobody else. Can we start it?
Yes, sir.
Can we start it? But I don't find anyone, only single one is there. Let us wait for 5 minutes, then we will start it. You write, hello,
Yes, sir.
can we start?
Okay, sir. No issue.
You speak. Can you start it? Hello, the topic today, introduction to short fiction. Hello,
Yes, sir. You are audible.
are you, can you listen to my voice? Sneha, can you listen to my voice? Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Right. Introduction to short fiction. Hello. Introduction to short fiction. Specially, fiction is a long narrative approach piece based upon the imagination of a writer. Fiction is a long narrative prose piece that based upon the imagination of writer. The writer speaks about a story. Short fiction is also a brief novel. We cannot speak it that it is a brief. Rather, the term short fiction means a short story relating to oral tradition with minimum characters. Hello, Sneha. Can you write?
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Right. Fiction is a long narrative approach, prose piece based upon the imagination of the writer or fictionist with some characters. Fiction is a long narrative approach piece based upon imagination of writer or a fictionist with some characters. The term short fiction means short story. The term short fiction means short story relating to the oral tradition with the minimum characters in minimum time, not maximum characters, maximum time. This short fiction must take half an hour only to cover, just like a short story. Have you read any short story? Have you read any short story? Oscar Wilde is Nightingale and the Rose. Have you read it? Hello, Sneha. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Have you read any short story?
Yes, sir.
What kind of short story that you have read? You tell me.
I've read some of the short stories from Oscar Wilde.
Oscar Wilde, Nightingale and the Rose. Have you read it?
No, sir, not that one, but I have read The Last Leaf.
Yes. Any short story that you have read? Selfish Giant,
Yes, sir. Selfish Giant, then The Last Leaf,
The
The
Last
Fly.
Leaf, The
Yes, sir.
Gift, Gift.
The Gift of the Magi. Yes, sir.
Yes. These are the short fictions. These are the short fictions. You write at least something that fiction is a long narrative prose piece based upon imagination of writers or a fictionist. So fiction means the short means short story. Especially it takes half an hour to cover a short story. Edgar Allan Poe is an American short story or a fiction writer that writes about other short story writers like Faulkner, Scott Fitzgerald, Ernest Hemingway, Gadi Mopasa, or these are the very high in list. And this is short fiction is just like a story. It is not novel. It is not a shortened way of the novel. Rather, rather, it is merely shortened novel. Of course, hello,
Yes, sir.
hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Uh, uh, its constituents are like plot, characters, and settings, but it cannot be exact just like a novel. Novel is something different from short story, but both are prose narrative. Novel is a long narrative with maximum characters taking maximum time, but a short fiction does not take even if a maximum time, it takes minimum time. My dear, to write it that a short fiction is a long narrative prose piece based upon the imagination of the writer or a fictionist. Especially, it takes minimum 20 minutes or maximum half an hour to cover. Edgar Allan Poe is an American short story writer, and other writers are like William Faulkner, Scott Fitzgerald, Ernest Hemingway, Gadi Mopasa, and these are the good examples of different types of short stories. And even short stories of different types from different literature, we can have American short story, German short story, French short story, Russian short story, Australian short, Russian short story, short fiction, that is about down to Tolstoy. Tolstoy, do you know?
Yes, sir.
God is Count Leo Tolstoy, and also American Ernest Hemingway, Edgar Allan Poe. These are the German short story. The short story originally begins from Chaucer's time in English literature, Chaucer's Canterbury Tales. Canterbury means once upon a time, 30 pilgrims from the Canterbury, from the particular Tabard in England, they started their journey to Canterbury. The pilgrims, they start their journey to attend the pilgrimage. On the way to filling board, therefore, the innkeeper suggested them that, my dear pilgrims, you should suggest two stories on the way to Canterbury and other two stories return from Canterbury. In this way, Chaucer wrote different types of short stories that is in prologue to Canterbury Tales. And the actually short story starts from Chaucer in English, and it came to German, French, Russian stories, then come to soil of Australia. So Australian short stories are also based upon. They have given impact from other short stories. Hello, to some extent, then I will give the dictation. Right. Short story or a short fiction is a comparative recent development. Short story or a short fiction is a comparative recent development in English literature. The early short fictions is from Chaucer's Canterbury Tales, which inspires modern fictionists. American, hello,
Yes, sir.
English, American, and also different types of short stories have been written by in different literature. 30 pilgrims that I have told started from Aberdeen to Canterbury, and they were telling each two stories on the way, and from Canterbury to that Aberdeen, two stories. This was the you might have many short stories like Jataka Gulf and other kind of short story, Indian short story, folklores and folk tales, and different short story. This is all about the short fiction. Short not exactly shortened of the novel, but it is the minimum character, like 3, 4, 5 plot and other. And then Anton Chekhov, the most important, then Tolstoy, Maupassant started writing short stories or short fiction. Short fiction means it is the short story. It is 19th century English, American, Australian fictions, French, German, English, all short fictions writers influence Australian short fiction. Australian fiction writers were influenced by 19th century American, English, German, French, Russian short story writers. In the 20th century Australia, that short fictions are being written by just like Washington Irving, Henry James, Rose, Terry Quick, and Charles Dickens, Thackeray, and George Eliot. They have wrote different short story in English literature. So you might have wrote that Charles Dickens hard times. Have you read it? No. Charles Dickens,
Yes, sir.
Australian short story developed through centuries. These early settlers were expert in short fiction in oral form, not writers. Then in 19th century, 1830 to 60, 1860 to 80, and 1883 to 93, the short fictions took its formal form by impact of the English short fiction. Jonathan Swift's tale Gulliver's Travel is a novel, but it is has been shortened. And the tales of colonies, Johan Howison, who is an Australian short fictionist who writes tales of colonies. Tales of colonies describe about different types of sorrow, suffering, trials, tribulations, and their culture, their marriage, social institution uh, through minimum characters. Suppose the protagonist or the hero or the central character of the short story describe his or her own suffering, her odd and fronts, and all these things. Johan Long, that Botany Boy, is another short story. John Long's Botany Boy is another short story which was written in 1859, and Thomas Kelly developed this short story. So next, bulletin is Henry Lawson. Bar. These are the short story fictionists. You see the Australian short stories, that is Marcus Clarke, Barbara Benton, Henry Lawson, Arthur Weiss, Christian Estate. These are also Australian short story writer. Australian short story writer. So all these short story writers, they started writing their story. Hello, 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 Sneha.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can you write? Can I give a note?
Yes, sir.
Right, beginning. Have you written fiction is a long narrative prose piece based upon the imagination and the writer of the fictionist? Have you written it? Hello,
Yes, sir.
write it, write it. Then write it. Short story or a short fiction is a comparatively recent development in English literature. Why it fails? Hello,
Yes, sir.
software. Is there any problem? Can you hear?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Can you hear?
Yes, sir.
Uh, just it is saying that Wi-Fi cancel continue software try again or up to date a smart switch or a computer. This is can you hear it yourself?
Mm,
Hello,
I can hear your voice, sir.
hello.
There is no problem.
Okay, you write it. The early short fictions, the early short fiction is from Chaucer's Canterbury Tales, which inspires modern fictionists. Can you write it in English and American and Australian writers? So other literature that letters from Chaucer. So Chaucer's Canterbury Tales that speaks 30 pilgrims, that speaks 30 pilgrim that starting their journey from Aberdeen to Canterbury. Then Anton Chekhov, Count Leo Tolstoy, Gadi Mopasa started writing short stories or short fictions in their respective culture so far. Hello, hello,
Yes.
so far. Just it is creating problem. I see. Hello, Sneha. Wi-Fi setting, cancel, continue. These three terms are showing. Can you answer? Can you hear my voice?
Yes, sir. You're audible.
Audible. Okay. Are you writing or are you listening to me?
Sir, I'm writing as well.
Right. 19th century English, American, and Australian short fictions, French, Russian, English, and American short fiction writers influenced Australian short fiction writers. Washington Irving, Henry James, Rose Perry Pope, Charles Dickens, Thackeray, George Eliot, Charles Dickens, Oliver Twist, Times, Tale of Two Cities are also novels they influenced to write centuries. Australian short story writer or fictionist developed through centuries. The early the early authors were experts in short fictions that Jonathan Howson that came from colonies and that sort of fiction writers like Marcus Clarke Barbara Benton, Henry Lawson, Arthur Device, and Christina Stead. They have written different stories. Henry Lawson, Barbara Benton, Ernest Hoyensons, and Henry Richardson, Australian short fiction writers of the 20th century. Archaics, that worker, going home is another short fiction. Going home, another fiction. And that Marcus Clark's the seizure of Cyprus from foreign office to foreign land uh, in Barbara Benton's chosen vessel, Henry Robert's wife, the Union buried its head, that Arthur Hoy David Crank, and old school. These are different types of modern fictions. Uh, Robert's wife and the union buried its head. They represent socio-cultural contrast of a landscape of Australia, the hardship life Australia's from women's perspective. There is a loss on perfect work while the Sunday. This is another short story. Hello,
Yes, sir.
can you listen to me?
Yes, sir.
Hmm. Then Australian short story writers were very strongly influenced by all these English, German, French writers. 19th century English, hello, 19th century English, American, Australian short fictions, French, Russian, English, all short story writers they were highly obliged to the impact of immigrants and other writers on the soil of Australia. Australian short story fiction developed through centuries. The early settlers were expert in short fictions oral from 1860, 1880, from 1883 to 1930, and all the fiction writers. That is the John Hyson, Tales of a Colonies. This is a very beautiful short story that about the sorrows and suffering of the colony people and other people. They were suffering a lot. Their social institution, their behaviors, their careers, their wife, their children, their husband, all these characters they were suffering. The Bulletin years Henry Lawson, Barbara Benton, Ernest Hyams, and Henry Richardson, Australia's short fictions were 20th century the fictions. Then we come to Marcus Clark's seizure of Cyprus. Seizure of Cyprus and from foreign officer to foreign land, men of many tales, all these are about all these are short fiction that comprise Australia's myth and legends. Henry Lawson's short fictions tell about the law of the land and the different socio-cultural views based upon also life of Australia. Life of Australia. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Then Henry Lawson, Drover's wife, and Union Buris, it is dead. They represent a socio-cultural context of the landscape of Australia, the hardship life of Australia from a woman's perspective. This is the Lawson's perspective, very perfect one. Lawson gives a clear-cut picture of a women voice in the short story that tells that a woman is oppressed and depressed in the society. She does not have any sorts of also right to challenge the masculine character. So this is all about the voice of Lawson's short story. It is very beautifully representing Australia's environmental and climatic different pictures of Australia. So Lawson is very expert in it, describing all. Again, we come to that short fiction of that Bush is another important. Sneha, right? What is Bush? The symbolic word Bush. You write Bus is Bush. The word Bush is highly symbolic. Can you write it? Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right. The word Bush. The word Bush is highly symbolic, used in a special Australian sense. That means vast interiors, vast interiors, the outback. It means symbolically woods and forests of Australia. It means woods and forests of Australia. These bush ranges, vast vocabulary. Bush ranges. These are the terms used in fiction, in poetry, in ballads, in novels, in short story, everything else. These are also these are the functions of bushes. And the quest for identity is very important in the definition of the bush. Bush, B-U-S-H, bush means the quest of identity of Australian is represented through this bush symbol. Arthur Henry Davies, that uh, story is the cranky jack. Cranky jack. Arthur Boyd Davies, cranky jack is a story that represents psychoanalysis of that pioneering legend representing labor and particular alienation and loneliness. This may be traveler's story. The story starts with an empty person that is supposed to be Jack, who says about his own experience. This story is a psychological story. Psychological story means psychological means psychoanalysis. Sigmund Freud, do you know a psychologist, a doctor?
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Sigmund Freud is a psychologist. Psychoanalysis. Suppose I am telling you that I can study your psychoanalysis. You can study my psychoanalysis, and you know go into the inner side of the mind and inner side of the psychology, and this is called psychoanalysis. The analytical part. Christina States is another fiction writer of Australia, that women story writer. She is the third generation of Australia, and her fiction is about disrupted and oppressed life of the economic hardship of Australia, where he narrates pictures of socio-economic structure of Australian nation. The Old School is another short story or short fiction that tells just like Charles Dickens' Hard Times, that represents economic hardship with utilitarianism and Roman and Aristotle plot character in his poetics that has been used in the form of Christina. That Christina is often compared with Patrick White, who is also a Nobel Prize winner of Australia for literature. And Christian writes about short fiction very beautifully. The old school represent about different types of attitude of the students of Australian school, how they are feeling themselves just like imprisoned in a prison. They have no social attachment during. They cannot know how to display their own talents very beautifully with much more freedom of the speech. Then, more different school climate. The school is representing Australia's attitude, Australian students in the school, and how they were, what must be here and there with the environment of Australia. So this is all about that. That that just Canterbury tales, Parsons tale, Henry tales, romance, and other things. Again, I'm telling about Cranky Jack's story. So you can study the story that this tells about another compared with the Union Bridge its head while putting on one moon on Sunday that across the river he saw a young man on a horseback driving horses driving horses driving horses. You know, a young man was driving horses on the riverbank and going back home on the way that while out boating on Sunday afternoon on a billabong across the river, he saw a young man horseback driving some horses along the bank. He was pretty very fine and asked about the water and water points, rivers, streams. He is thinking about the distinct young man's mind. He himself was also a stranger to the town. He does not have any idea geographical situation and any sorts of sociological performance of that particular place. That young man starting from one place and goes to another on the horseback, thinking about different psychology of Australian people that he encountered, and all these things he speaking about all. Let us, this is all about the union Buriditsi date. Then another short story we must go that the socio-cultural context we find and other themes of the characters we find and different short stories. The language of Australia is about mixing language. This is a multicultural language because Australia, you know, that different peoples from different lands like England, Russia, German, French, Europeans, white settlers, they entered into the particular thing. And only for that, their language becomes also multicultural. Their culture becomes multicultural. They do not have any particular language, just like the tribal people in a hill area, in different regions, they have a different kind of also cultures, different kinds of senses. So this is all about that. You write, my dear, the question, then we will discuss it. Hello, can you take note? Can you take note?
Yes, sir.
Right. The question, then I will give the note. Right. Give a critique of number one. Give a critique, CRITIQU, critique of Australian short fiction. Hello. Give a critique of Australian short fiction as a genre. Number one. Or question you write. Or. Are you writing or not?
Yes, sir,
Hello.
I am writing.
Give a critique of Australian short fiction as a genre. Or that or question. What are the prominent themes and the structure of Australian short fiction? What are the prominent themes and structure of Australian short fiction? Number three. Number two, this is your question. What do you know of Marsus seizure of Cyprus? Marsus, Marcus, Marsus seizure, Seizure of Cyprus, Cyprus. Cyprus is a country. Or critically appreciate.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, can you please repeat that? What do you know about Marxist, sir?
Yes, I will tell it. critically appreciate seizure of Cyprus from from the technique of other fictionist, short fictionist, from the technique of other short fictionist. This is your question. Next, come to number 3. Critically,
Excuse me, sir. Sir, can you please repeat question number 2? Both
question
questions.
number 2. How do you know of Marsus seizure of Cyprus? This is one question. Or question, critically appreciate short fiction of Cyprus. This is your question. Then number 3, critically appreciate Barbara Benton's The Chosen Vessel. Chosen Vessel is another story. Critically appreciate Barbara Benton's The Chosen Vessel. The Chosen Vessel. Or question, how do you appreciate the short fiction? How do you appreciate the short fiction of Barbara Benton, The Chosen Vessel? The same question, same answer. How do you appreciate Barbara Benton's The Chosen Vessel? The Chosen Vessel. Number 4. What do you know? What do you know about Henry Lawson's? What do you know about Henry Lawson's Drover's wife? Drover's, D-R-O-V-E-R apostrophe S. Drover's wife. And
Sir, read it. Please, can you please read it again? What do you know about Henry?
what do you know Henry Lawson's Drover's wife? And his other stories. His other stories. Number 5. Critically appreciate A.H. Davis, D-A-V-I-S, Davis Cranky Jack, C-R-A-N-K-Y, Cranky Jack. Then, what do you know about Christina States? Number 6. What do you know about Christina States? The old school. Christina States, the old school. Number 7. Number 7 and 8 is very important. This is what are the characteristic feature? What are the characteristic features of Australian short fiction? Short fiction in particular and
Sir, in
other
particular?
short fictions in general. Other short fictions in general. Next you write, can you find any impacts of German, Australian, English, American short fictionists?
Sir, can you find any impact of German? Then can you please go down little
German,
bit slowly?
English, Russian, American, Spanish, or any other Europeans on the fiction history of Australia. Australia. This is all about the last question and very important question. My point is, my dear students, listen again. Then I will give dictation. First, you understand one short story or one
Uh,
short fiction. Then we shall
Excuse
go.
me,
Is it not?
excuse me, sir. Sir, at the end, what you said that any other Europeans fiction
Any
story.
other, any other European fictionist.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, you come to our understanding. So you listen to me that at first one short story typically I am taking to give you description. The story, a Christmas gift. Do you know? Oh Henry's after 20 years. No, you do not know. English story. Any other story you tell that I can tell you? Any other story you tell? We will discuss.
So O. Henry is the last leaf.
Lastly, 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 he also a short fiction, but typically there are not so many characters, very minimum characters, two or three protagonists and other female role character. So a short fiction must be covered within half an hour maximum and 20 minutes minimum. It is not a, or it is not brief of a novel. It is not shortened. Rather, a novel is a long narrative prose with maximum characters, and it has also other constituents like plot, character, setting. All these three constituents of each piece of literature, maybe novel or maybe short story. So these constituents are also sometimes they share with the novel, but novel is a long narrative. Short fiction simply you understand that it is a short story. Short story. You must know many short stories from Jataka Gulf. I am telling one typical English, one French, one German, and Russian, and also Australian short story that you can understand it very easily. I am citing that Chaucer's proof to contemporary tales, one of the tale of a non-priest tale. That is the story that I am telling. You might have read in other courses. Once upon a time, there was a lady. She has a courtyard. She has a cow shed. She has a barn house. She has many animals, birds, and other domestic animals. That once upon a time, a cock that and a hen. This is the story. So a short fiction must be a parable. That parable is a sort of imaginary story reporting high moral from you might have read it from Christians, that is the Bible. So Jesus Christ tells many stories to the disciples while they were gathering and they were sitting around him, and he started telling a story. Suppose one man asked Jesus Christ, "My dear Christ, who is the true neighbor? Who is the true neighbor?" Christ started telling a story. That may be a fable, means animal story. That may be also a parable, means a story reports a high moral about human beings. Suppose Christ started telling, once upon a time, a man from Jerusalem started to Jericho. On the way, he was plundered by a group of thieves. He was left half dead. During this period, also many people passed by. Many a young man, a Levite, a person, a priest, a nun, and all were passing by. But nobody was paying any attention to that half dead man who was falling, plundered by the thief. Suddenly, another man came. And he started paying some sort of also sympathy and brought the half dead man to the nearest inn and consulted with the innkeeper to take care of him and also gave medicine and went away. and while he will be returning, he will be able to pay the fees. And the story ends here. The fiction ends here. What does it mean? Christ was asked who is a true neighbor. Instead of telling the man who helps us in need is a true neighbor, but directly he does not telling through the parables. So short fiction may be parable, may be short story, may be animal story, and maybe Jack and the Bull story and everything else. But it is a very minimum characters, 2 to 3 characters. In the short story, how many characters we find? Only a Levite, a non, an innkeeper, and also the subordinate. And all 3 to 4 characters. It is a setting also. It is the beginning, it is the end, it is the middle. So each and every piece of literature must. So Russians, Americans, Africans, Europeans, all these fiction writers, short fiction writers, they gave much more impact in the minds of Australian short story writers. So Australian short story writers that I have already told you that how they were influenced by English writers. So it is naturally that Australian writers like Marcus Clarke, that Barbara Benton, Henry Lawson, Arthur Hay, that Christina Stead, all these, it is in your course, that all these fiction writers, they are highly influenced by English short story, American short story, German short story, the French short story, a Russian short story. And these short story or short fictionists have given greater impact in the minds of Australian people. So all these writers that Marcus Clarke, Barbara Benton, Henry Lawson, that A.H. Device, Christina Stead, they already are very much influenced by other writers. Another story I am telling how it is coming to the soil of Australia. So Australian people, they do not have writing ability first from very perennial of this civilization. They were leading very nomadic life. People living in a different areas, having different cultures, regional cultures. While they were getting together, either in celebration, marriage, or any social institution, they started dancing and also singing. But fiction writings was started during 19th century Australia, and then it gradually and recently it developed to the modern stage by the impact of all these Russian, African, American, German writers. So Gaudy Maupassant. Maupassant story that is a very much influential story. O. Henry story. Suppose I am telling another story how that old school is compared with that story. So
Excuse me, sir. Sir,
hello.
I have one question I want to ask you. Sir, you said that short fiction stories that have limited characteristics, right?
Yes, yes.
And it is only dependent on the same place or same plot. It can't
Theme,
be like going through.
theme, structure, plot, and setting. That novel must have also short fiction must have the setting, theme, structure, plot, characters.
Okay.
Characters. Short fiction must have. Especially short fiction must carry that structural constituents like plot, character, setting. Plot, character, setting. These are the constituents of a short story which have been brought from the genre of the novel. So novel is a long narrative approach with maximum character taking maximum time. A short fiction is a brief story that within the brief campus of the character and the setting and the structure, that is the plot, all are equal to the main short story. So I am citing one example of the short story gift gift of ONA. You listen to me that I will discuss how it is setting. This is a bedroom. Jack and Jem and Della both are would be couple. Would be couple. They are in a Christian culture, the husband and wife would be, they start mixing and reciprocating themselves about their own culture, their feeling, emotion, and then they decide the marriage, they solemnize the marriage in the church. This is the culture of that. But Hindu culture is something different. Islam culture is something different. Jamie and Della, they were two friends, loving each other very much, core to the heart. And Della and Jamie, these two persons were not getting a substantial job. They were, Della was getting a very odd job, small job, and that is not a lubricating salary. She was not able to get it. And ultimately, Jem was also the same way. He was just like a very small, getting small job in an office, a very minimum wages that he was getting. But in the Christmas, they must have to represent themselves both the gift. But Della have collected some coins, and that was not sufficient to give a Christmas gift. Jim also thought that that he collected, minusing it from each and every salary, every month's salary, that was not substantial to purchase a very lovely gift to his wife. Anyway, Della has a very beautiful hair, very golden hair. Can you listen me? So Della went to the market and sold the golden hair, bunch of golden hair uh, to a merchant of the hair, and with much more money brought it in, and brought a gold watch, a gold watch. So Jim must have a gold watch, that he sold the gold watch and brought a set of golden combs, because that would suit to Dallas golden hair for combing it, and he sold his golden watch and brought a set of golden combs, that Della sold her golden hair and brought a golden chain. And when they were going to give their Christmas gift to each other on the table, and they are unpacking it, all of a sudden they were looking at each other. The story ends here. The story is, is ending with a very beautiful twist, that each the lover looking at each other. What does it mean? Looking at each other means Della is looking at Jim, Jim is looking at Della. So the gift is a set of golden cum. A set of golden cum is not necessary for Della because she has already sold the golden hair. A golden chain is not necessary for Jem, that he has sold his golden watch for purchasing a set of golden cum. So this is the end of the short story. So a short fiction must be ended with a beautiful twist. This is the Hungarian twist. So that old school, that cranky Jack, that Dover's wife, that chosen vessel, Caesar of Cyprus, all these stories, they are just on the pattern of the English setting, characters, and also plot. Every story must have a plot and a character. What is the plot? What is the character? You must understand from that story of old school. Old school character is a boy that he is always going to the school every day. But that day when he saw that he was feeling very impatient because the teacher is very harsh to him, and he does not want that such kind of harshness is applied to him because he wants freedom. But the teacher asks questions that the answers are not substantial to that particular teacher. He started beating the boy. So boy got disgusted. Only for that he wanted to try to leave the school, and he is psychologically setting a new school in his mind, that school must be such and such. The children must have the freedom, they have the freedom to ask the questions. Suppose you are in a class, you must have the freedom to ask your teacher question. In this way, old school is going. So every short fiction must have a beginning, end, and middle. So short fiction must have the constituents like plot, character, and setting. All these things that we get from all these Russian fictionist. You ask any question, ask any question. Hello, hello,
Yes, sir.
ask any question. You write some important points that will be applicable for all the answers, right?
Sir, actually, I want to ask you the last question. Can you find any impact of German, English, Spanish on all the Europeans fictionists? So
Yes.
it is asking about the impact that which they wrote for the society and how they are impacting our literature, English literature, right?
Okay, okay, okay. Very good, very fine question that you are asking.
Yes, sir.
Impact of the characterization. You write it. Number one, impact of plot construction, impact of setting, impact of theme, character, setting, plot. All these are constituents of short fictions. Can you understand me? And these short fictions constituents
Yes, sir.
must have impact upon Australian writers. That for you take example of old school of last Australian writer, that is Christina Stead. Christina Stead question will come definitely. I think that always, my dear students, you must ask question, any other question in this MEG-9, you must answer the general question. General question is very mark fetching, that must give all sorts of ample idea. But a particular question, if you ask, and there are how many short stories? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 short stories, you must not get it. But I am giving one answer pattern question, answer that you can imitate it and write it. So these are the impacts. These are the impacts. So story. Story must have the constituents that I have already told you. But the setting is that it is an old school with the old system, with old traditions, everything else setting. The school begins here. The boy goes to the school, sits in the class. The beginning must have an enchanting, abrupt, beginning, twisting ending. This is the English substory. The German substory also the same. German also, that is the Mopasa substory is the same. Then Russian substory, that is also Count Leo Tolstoy. Tolstoy's story is very charming, and it is beginning and ending. Where love is God is another story. Love is God is. So I am citing one example that once upon a time a cobbler was living in a street, and he himself was also mending the shoes of the people of the street. He is very familiar, and people loved him very much. But a woman with a baby who is sucking mother's breast on her lap, she was shivering with shocks, shivering with cold, trembling with cold, just passing by where the cobbler was also mending the shoes. The cobbler doesn't have any person, because it doesn't have any family. His wife dead, his two children were suffering and dead, and his father dead, mother dead. He alone is living, and whatever he earns, that is enough for him. But he called for the women. Oh, my dear lady, you come, and you are trembling. He gave his coat, and you are trembling with cold, and the boy is feeling hungry, and gave some food and gave shelter. And the next day also he started giving some Russian coins, and also bid farewell to that particular fellow. The ending is that. This is the Mopasar story. Mopasar story must have the theme of love, love to the mankind, love to the God. And British story must have that I have already told. Selfish Giant, you have read from your high school or any other thing. Selfish Giant, or the theme, the technique, these are the two constituents of each and every piece of literature. Can you understand me? Hello,
Yes,
hello.
sir. Sir, up to Leo Tolstoy, that I understood. The last one, could you please repeat that again? That selfishness and all that.
This is the Tolstoy. Other story, you are that asking me.
Yes, sir. Actually, just now you said the story about cobbler, right? Cobbler and the lady.
Yes, cobbler is a character.
Yes.
Women is a character.
Yeah.
Small child on her lap is also a character. There are only three characters, very minimum characters. So
Huh.
characterization is that. In old school, 2 to 3 characters are there. In also other story like Trojan vessel, Drover's
Huh.
wife. Drover's wife is another story of Australia. That you will give the touch just like that. And the description of the short fiction, the definition of the short fiction, origin, growth, and development in brief, then the structure of the short fiction, then the structure of the short fiction in general and Australian short fiction in particular. Number three is that different types of short fictions of different short stories, they have given impact upon that. This is the answer of the general question. You can very easily answer a general question about structure. So I am giving one description to you that ask any question that I will dictate. You write the formation how to give the general answer. Right, number 1 point, introduction to the short fiction in general. Introduction to the short fiction in general and short fiction of Australia in particular. Introduction. Number 2 point, the structure. Structure must have a b, the theme, the plot, the characters. Next point is the setting. Setting means beginning and ending. Setting means beginning and ending. Beginning of the story and ending of the story. That I have already told you three short stories. One gift, Christmas gift. Another contemporary tales that a story of a non-priest tale, that is a hen and the cock story, that is Petilot and these stories. Another story of that Christian parable, that particular Jesus Christ story. That is it. All these are short fictions. They give impact to the story of Australia. Let us come to the particular Australian short story. Next point. Next point. Can you write, or I will give description to you? Write it. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can you write?
Yes,
No.
sir. And yes, sir, I am writing.
Right. Short, short, short fiction is comparatively comparatively recent development in Australian literature. In Australian literature, the early short fictions are from Chaucer's Canterbury Tales. Canterbury
Sir,
Tales
are from which?
are from Chaucer, Chaucer. Chaucer means an English writer. Chaucer, 14th century writer. Chaucer. Chaucer's Canterbury Tale, Canterbury, Canterbury Tales, Tales, Tales. Canterbury Tales means you just stop writing and understand. Once 30 pilgrims, they started their journey to Canterbury. Canterbury is a pilgrimage, and on the way they feel bored. So 30 pilgrims each way to Canterbury, from Canterbury to this Bathada. That's what suggested by the innkeeper. Innkeeper suggested. In means during ancient time, the people were taking their journey, they were taking rest and their break on the way, that in Panthosala. Just like we have big hotels, 5-star hotels, that you are on the way, long journey to Delhi, that you will break. So innkeeper suggested them that you should tell each one to Canterbury, and from Canterbury to each pilgrim must tell 4 tales, and that 30 pilgrims will tell 120 tales. This is the Canterbury Tales. Can you understand me? Chaucer's Canterbury Tales was the first in European writing that influenced to German, French, Russian, and other writers, world literature writers. Canterbury Tales, which inspires modern fictionist, which inspires modern
Excuse me, sir. Sir, contemporary stories.
Canterbury Tales, etika- Canterbury Tales, which inspire modern fictionist, in English, American, Australian, Canadian, American, and so others. Stop. Chaucer's Pilgrims. Chaucer's Pilgrims 30 were telling stories, were telling stories, stories orally, O-R-A-L-L-Y, orally, which represent the socio-cultural dimension of their society.
Sir, can you please repeat that from socio-cultural?
Cultural, economic dimension of the society. Economic dimension of the society. Society for killing boredom of journey. Boredom of journey. Right. Originally, Thomas Nash, Thomas, Thomas Nash, Nash, is an Elizabethan short fictionist.
Sir, please repeat that again. Originally,
Thomas Nash is an Elizabethan short fictionist. Elizabethan period, 16th century English. Elizabethan short fictionist who started writing short fictions that inspire all his successors.
sir, please repeat the last line. Fiction who started writing short.
Fictions. Hello.
Yes, sir. Sir, after that, short fictions. Then,
I am not audible. Why? Sound is disturbed. You speak very loudly.
uh, sir, are you able to hear me now?
Yes, now.
Yeah,
Yes.
sir. Actually, I'm asking who started writing short fictions. After that,
Short
what is
fiction.
it, sir?
Short fictions.
Yes. Then
Fictions that
that
all inspire all his successors.
okay, sir.
Stop.
Thank you.
Then Anton Chekhov, Russian substitute. Anton Chekhov, Chekov. Then Anton Chekhov, Count Leo Tolstoy, Count Leo Tolstoy. Tolstoy, Russian. And Gaudy, Gaudy, Gaudy Maupassant, Maupassant, Gaudy Maupassant, started writing short stories, or short fictions in their respective cultures. In their respective cultures. Then come to the 19th century American and Australian short fictionists. Then came the 19th century American and Australian short fictionists. Stop. Gradually it flows to the French, Russian,
Sir,
English.
short fictions, after
Gradually
that,
it
it
flows, Flows. It flows to the modern technique adopted by French, Russian, and English, and American, which give impact to impacts to Australian short fiction writer. Impact to Australian short fiction writer.
sir, last line which gives impact. Huh?
Australian short fiction writer by fictionist. Stop. Washington Irving, Washing, Washington Irving, Irving, comma, Henry James, Rose Terry Cook, Roscterry, Rose Terry Cook, Cwook, comma, Charles Dickens,
Sir Charles.
Dickens, Thackeray, Thakray, Thackeray, and George Eliot gave greater impact to modern Australian short fictionist
Sir, modern Australian.
Short fictionist means short story writer, especially Marcus Clark, Marcus Clark, Marcus Clark, Barbara Benton, Barbara Benton, Barbara Benton, Henry Lawson, 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 Davis, and Christina Stead, all Australian short fiction writers, are strongly influenced by short
A.
fiction
F.
writers.
Davidson.
Hello, short fiction writers are strongly influenced by them. Influenced by them. Stop. Then write Australian short story fiction. Australian short story fiction developed through century. Through century. Stop. The early settlers or aborigines, Aborigine, aborigines were not so expert, were not so expert in writing short fictions. They were simply,
Excuse me, sir. Uh, in writing, after that, what you said?
hello, I cannot audible. They were writing, they were not expert in writing fictions.
Writing fictions. Okay.
Ah, but gradually they began to follow the theme and technique. They began to follow the theme and technique as well as the settings or characters from immigrants or white settlers, entered into the land of Australia. Entered into the land of Australia. Stop. Another. John Howison. John Howison. John Howison. John Howison's Tales of Colonies. Tales of Colonies. TLE. Tales of Colonies comes out of the comes out of the stories of Ireland and Westland, stories of Ireland and Westland. Stop. John Long's John. John Long's Long. Long's Botany Boy, Botany, capital B. Botany Boy, underline it. It is a story. Tale of Colonies. It is a story. Underline it. Botany Boy in 1859. In 1859, brought a new light, brought a new light to the forum of short fiction, to the forum of short fiction of 20th century.
Sir,
Australian
brought a new light. Excuse me, sir. Brought a new
brought a
light to
new
the
light,
form of.
brought a new light to the forum of modern Australian, modern Australian history of a fictionist, history of a short fictionist, modern Australian history of a short fictionist. Then another story of this Australia, comma the bulletin years, the bulletin years expressed, comma of Henry Lawson.
Sir, uh, sir, can you
Hello,
please repeat the last line?
last line.
Yes, sir.
What I initiate what to tell?
Sir, yeah, Australia. After Australia, actually, what you said, I didn't get it.
Not audible. Please loudly tell. Why it
Uh,
is not?
hello, sir. Sir, can you please hear
Yes.
me? Yeah. Sir, then another story of Australia. Uh, After that, what you said, I didn't get it.
That is the bulletin years. The bulletin years said.
Bulletin years. Okay.
Bulletin years that is a journal published in Australia. Bulletin years said, comma said the Australian modern fictionist came. The Australian modern fictionist came. Then write Archie Waker, Archie Achiewer, AC Walker, story going home, Goinghome, going home is the first Aboriginal short story. Is the first Aboriginal short story which brought record to the soil of Australian literature. Which brought record to the soil of Australian literature. Then various white settlers and immigrants. Then various white settlers and immigrants started contributing their own short fictions to the Encyclopedia of Australian Literature. Encyclopedia of Australian Literature. Encyclopedia of Australian Literature. Stop. Next, Marcus, Marcus, Marcus Clarks, Clarkes, Carson, Clarks, the Caesar Cypress, Seijuary, Caesar Cyprus, Cyprus is the country, the Caesar of Cyprus. Next, from foreign office to foreign shore, from foreign office to foreign shore, man of many tales,
Sir,
foreign office to foreign
from
shore, SHY,
foreigners.
from
Sir,
foreign,
last time, can you please repeat that pura full line?
hello,
Hello, sir. Sir, Marcus, Master's Clark.
Marcus
That
Clarks,
after that, actually, can you please
Caesar of the Cyprus, from foreign office to foreign shore, SHY, shore, men of many tales, men of many tales, all are landmarking Australian, all are landmarking Australian short fictions, short fictions, full stop. Then write, all these fictions are based upon myths and legends, myths and legends, myths and legends of Australia, of Australia. But the technique and structures are like are like are like
yes,
are
sir.
like American and English. American and English. Number next. Henry Lawson's sub stories. Henry Lawson's HLLAWSON. Henry Lawson's short stories or fictions tell about tell about the law of the land, law of the land,
Sir, law of the land.
land, law of the land, LND, land of Australia, and their culture, and their culture as well as environments.
Sir, and their cultures.
Culture as well as environments, ENV, environments. Next paragraph. Barbara Benton's whatever I give you as a dictation of the note, you can use it for any other questions with a little bit change of your mind, thinking upon, basing upon the dimension of the questions. I will tell later on. To write it. Barbara Benton, B-A-R-A, R-B-A-R-A, Benton, B-A-Y-N-T-O-N, Barbara Benton. Benton's story, The Chosen Vessel, The Chosen, C-H-O-S-E-N, The Chosen Vessel, vessel means ship, chosen vessel, is a beautiful masterpiece, is a beautiful masterpiece, masterpiece of the pictures of hardship, the pictures of hardship of bush life, bush, B-U-S-H, bush, that I have already told you, bush life. Stop. Further, it indicates feministic, feministic potentiality, feminist potentiality. Lastly, Christina Steed. Lastly, Christina Treat. Christina Stead, S-T-E-A-D. And Arthur Hoy Davis. Arthur Hoy Davis. A-R-T-H-U-R, capital H-O-E-D-A-V-I-S. Capital Arthur Hoy Davis. Stories hyphen Crankjack and the Old School. Crankjack and the Old School.
Sir, at the last, Jack in the
Crankjack and the Old School.
old
The Old
school.
School.
Okay.
That is the story of Christina. The Old School. Old School, which are chiseled, Chiseled, chisel is a verb. Chisel with a comprehensive and compromising
Excuse me, sir. So
is
chisel means that means to modify or to cutting down some points.
uh, is chiseled with
No, sir. I am asking about the meaning of chisel.
chisel. Chisel means chena. That is a verb. Chiseled means that just like you put that chisel on the biscuit or any other else. Chisel is a verb. Is
Ah,
chiseled, passive verb. Can you understand?
yes,
Is
sir.
quoted with minus is quoted with quoted with COAT quoted with comprehensive comprehensive knowledge of Australian culture. This story, next paragraph, this story, Cranky Jack, C-R-A-N-K-Y, Cranky Jack, J-S, Cranky Jack, represents psychoanalysis of a pioneering legend of a pioneering legend
Excuse me, sir. Sir,
representing Cranky Jack. Cranky Jack is a story.
Yes, sir. Cranky Jack represents psychoanalysis of a binary.
Pioneering legend, 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 representing 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 labor and patricide, killing of a father, patricide. The stop here. This the hero of the short story, it's Kanki Jack, goes on killing his father. He suspected that my father would have any sorts of illicit relation with another women. The lest it would affect to my normal life, and he very tactfully killed his father. Can you understand me? Hello, hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He
Sir,
killed his
here the
father.
boy is like suspecting that his father is having a illegal relationship with another woman. That's why
Yes,
he killed his father, right?
his father was a characterless man. He considered himself the the
Okay,
the protagonist of the story considered and kills his father.
okay, okay, sir. Got it.
This is the theme of the story. Therefore, it represents the patricide. Patricide means that is killing of the father. Matricide, killing of the mother. Fratricide, killing of the father. Father, mother, brother, sister. Homicide, killing of people. Genocide, killing of people. All these. Side. Suicide means killing self. Is it not? So,
Yes, sir.
this is the picture of a cranky jack. Psychological analysis. Another factor. Write it. Psychological analysis is the main factor of this cranky jack. Psychological analysis of this cranky jack is the main factor, which has been influenced by Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud, Sigmund Freud, Freud. Sigmund
Sir,
Freud.
excuse me, sir. Sir, psychological analysis of cranky jack. Then you what you said?
Hello, influenced by Sigmund Freud.
Sir, the line is psychological analysis of cranky jack influenced by Sigmund Freud, right?
I am not audible. Hello, again you tell.
Sir, the line is I'm asking psychological analysis of cranky jack. Then what you said, sir? Can you please repeat that?
Cranky jack is influenced by Sigmund Freud. Is influenced by Sigmund Freud. Further, this story tells about Oedipus complex. Oedipus complex. Oedipus. Oedipus complex. Complex. You stop here. Just I am giving description. My dear students, see psychological analysis comes to the question of a Sigmund Freud. Freud, you know, he is a doctor, physician, who was writing many books on psychology, the psychology of a person, the psychology of a patient, the psychology of a woman, the psychology of any sorts of person, those who are suffering from a mental disorder. This is the science which has been based upon different kinds of factors that Sigmund Freud had analyzed. Then come to Oedipus. Oedipus, do you know, that is the Greek mythology. Oedipal relation means father's love towards sister, sorry, daughter, mother's love towards son. This is Oedipal relation. There are so many persons, those who love their daughter very much, not in the sense of any sorts relating to the sex, that may not be, but love of a father to the daughter, love of a mother to the son. These are Oedipal relation. Oedipus Rex, that is a story in Greek drama. I will tell you both the drama, then I will tell you Oedipus complex, very beautiful story. That is based
Uh,
upon.
Sir, we can say that Oedipus love, that means pure love between father and daughter, or pure love between mother and son, right?
Yes, yes, pure love. That is also in Hindu mythology. We have all sorts of relations that a grown-up daughter may not come very seriously contact with the father. A grown-up son must not come in contact with the mother. This is the Hindu mythology, because also religion and myths, legends, culture, it is speaking. But that sensationally never come, that any sorts of sexual potentially never come, just like if a brother sits near sister, that may not be. But Oedipus complex that tells that man, when he is sleeping, he is just like a dead man, and he does not have any sense of sense. Therefore, a grown-up sister must not take shelter with the grown-up, uh, you know, even if he brother. This is the Oedipal complex, Oedipus complex. Sigmund Freud had a psychology. So these are the impacts of English, Britain, that German, French impact upon the Australian writer. Can you write this question answer? If that is given, how?
Yes, yes, sir. I can now write. I
Yes.
understood this.
Then finally, the Christina Street, Christina, Christa, Christina Streets, the old school. Write it. This is the last right. Christina Street, the old school, is an women's story. Australian women's story. Stop. The story itself is written by an woman. The story itself is written by a woman. The story recasts the family culture and the economic crisis that go rampantly in Australian society. Hello, another. The old school is like Charles Dickens. Charles Dickens is an English writer. How these impacts the entire Australian literature is a salad bowl. I have already told you that it is mixing of either a short story or a novel or a drama or any other literary form or poetry or modern poetry or ancient poetry of Australia, every literature, piece of literature of Australia is not aboriginal, is not unique itself, because it has been given various impacts of various writers, the settlers, the immigrants, uh, all the expatriates, they come from other country to this, and they started influencing them. Can you understand me? Next you come. The old school EG, this is the last. The old school EG, like Charles Dickens, Hard Times. Hard Times is another novel. Charles Dickens, Hard Times, that represents economic hardship of the poor and oppressed people, victimized by utilitarianism. Victimized by utilitarianism, UTI, utilitarianism means very selfishness impacted. Utilitarianism.
Sir, excuse me, sir. Sir, this point like poor and oppressed people victimized by utilization. That means poor, rich people are utilizing the poor and they are torturing them by.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Victimized by poor, oppressed and poor people. You stop it. You don't write it lengthy sentence. It is based upon utilitarianism. Another sentence you write it, that would be good. It is based upon utilitarianism and exploitation. Stop it. Finally, last Sanjay, you write it. Short fiction is not only mere mere of shortened novels, shortened, shortened novel. Stop. Of course, it shares it shares the unusual constituents of all fiction: plot, character, setting, constituents of all fiction, hyphen, plot, character, settings, but it cannot be treated as a novel. Treated as a novel in details. Treated as a novel in details.
Uh, sir, constitution hyphen plot characters setting, but it cannot or can
It cannot be
cannot be. Okay.
treated as a novel in details. Novel in details. Finished. My dear student, ask any question upon it. This is the fiction of Sneha, uh, Tejas. All you listen to me. Am I audible? Am I visible? Everything else to you? Am
Yes,
I understandable?
yes, sir.
Hello?
You are audible and visible. Both.
Okay. Any problems you face, you are asking me for the one
Um,
question. Always you follow one question, that is general question you must answer. MEG. General question means what is short fiction, define it, and what are the functions of short fictions of Australian literature, and how does it give any, how does it take any impact of other literature. So always you cite the general question, take all the four fictionists that I have already told you. I have give the dictation. So briefly, I am telling last at the end. You listen to me. A novel is a long narrative prose work with maximum characters and maximum taking maximum time. A short fiction is not like a novel, but it has some constituents like plot, character, setting, and theme, etc. So a short fiction is not exactly novel because a short fiction takes at least covering it or reading it half an hour or less than half an hour, but a novel takes at least 3 to 4 hours or more than that. Then setting of the novel may be equal to the setting of the short story. Every piece of literature must be, even if drama or serial you are looking at in the television screen or any other, that is setting is same. So Australian fiction writers originally they started their sources from that bush and bush rangers. Bush is a very symbolic word in Australia. BUSH. Bush means outer act and interior act. Symbolically, it represents the identity of Australian culture. So this is all about the introduction. Then come to Australian literature. So Australian writers that I have already cited you different types like you see that Marcus Clark, Barbara Benton, Henry Lawson, Arthur Davis, Christina Stead, all these 4 to 5 fictionists of Australian literature are a leading one. And they, even if Patrick White is also an English a writer of Australia who has been awarded Nobel Prize for novel. But these writers in the 20th century, they are named. They are being influenced by other writers. So Australia was a land of wild forest. Long back ago, the tribal people were living there. They were dancing, eating, drinking, and also doing different wild forest hunting. And simply they were leading just like wildlife. But gradually, the white settlers from Britain, from Europe, from Canada, from German, from France, this even if from India, they had entered into the land of Australia. You might have seen the cricket players of Australia, how they are developed and how they win the world match, even if because they are wild in nature. They are very sportive. They have a gymnastic power, but mentally they are not strong. They are physically strong. Can you understand me? So, in this way, the Australian people were strongly influenced by the patriots, by the immigrants, by the outsider. They were influenced. So outsider words like Charles Dickens, stories, Oliver Twist, Hard Times, also Henry, O. Henry, short stories, and uh, different writers like Hardy Lawrence, and they were giving the impact to the writer of fiction of this Australia. Also, I will teach later period Australian modern poetry. They are also influenced by the modern writers like W. H. Eliot and all these poets. In this way, Australian literature is gradually becoming famous and fabulous in its volume and gradually becomes a page in the world class literature. Can you understand me, my dear students? How are you
Yes,
feeling?
sir.
Listen to me. This is the final ending of the class. Tell Sneha, Tejas, and other. You tell. Can
Yes,
you
sir.
understand me?
Yes, sir, I understood. Sir, in this question, every time which that question, whenever like related to this, any question is coming, we have to introduce first what is Australian literature, and if a question is coming from short fiction, like so, we have to give some ideas about what is short fiction, right?
Yes, yes.
First in the
Short.
introduction.
I think that a pattern of a question you ask to director of your institute or a
Uh-huh.
Tapan Babu that let us 3 to 4 years questions also you ask me in the class, I will answer you. Is it not?
Okay, sir, give me just 1 minute. I will search questions. It is in Google. I will
Yes,
search
yes,
it
you
in.
can find it. Why Google? Because you are paying to this IGNO. You ask Tapan Kumar Parida, he may say you that when you will collect it. Is it not? Oh, my dear student, this is the online class is my first experience. I am an aged man, about 72. I have a fascination for teaching, but the technique adopted by this online class are very simple. My daughters and sons, they are professors. They have given some impression. My daughter is also a physician, and she is giving a tips. Anyway, I may be very much so much convenient to you. I may kindly be given scope and all my weakness I must know that I can teach better than this class. You tell goodbye. Hello, hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is the ending of the class, my dear.
No
Hello.
issue, sir. No issue. Next time, if now just we completed block 3, right? Short
Yes.
fiction. Yes. So block 4, I will search first the questions during the session, and at the end, I will ask you
At
how
first,
to answer.
this is my request to you. Brought a question, then
Yes, sir.
we will go to the subject. What is the
Yes, sir.
question?
Yes,
This
sir.
is the modern Australian poetry. What is
Yes,
poetry? Poetry of English is different kinds. That is Wordsworth theory, Eliot theory,
yes.
Yeats theory, Edgar Allan Poe theory, Poe Pound theory,
Mm.
Ezra Pound theory. They have given impact to Australian poetry. And
Yes,
poetry in general, Australian poetry in particular, the general question will be answered by first, then we will enter into the subject matter. Is it not?
yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Next class is perhaps tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Tomorrow 6 p.m.
Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. After 5, then we will discuss non-officially. You will ask me, and
Yes, sir.
you get together also. Keeping a link, I will
Sir,
discuss it.
sir, can you please kind enough to share your notes so that if we missed
Yes,
something like
just after
notes?
completing. You give me a number. I will write the note. This note I will also project you, and I
Sir,
will check.
we already created a group and we have your number. So after the class, like after 5th April, we will just let you know that we need your notes. If you
Yes, yes.
kind enough to share that, that will be very helpful for us.
Yes, I will give in. But after, let me at least 10th of April. Up to that, I will be
Yes,
busy.
sir, no issue, no issue. Whenever you are free, you think that I'm
You
now
give
I'm
your
free, I can
number,
do that.
your name. I will call you just after 8 or 9. I will be free. I will give you long time for giving dictation directly. Yes,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you.
I have your number and I will give you a call. Thank you, sir.
Yes, last your number I guess.
Sir, you have taken our number on the first class.
Yes, yes. Let me see. Your number.
Yes, sir. First session, we already gave you our numbers.
You tell to other friends also. They may give. But, let me see. Also, I have forgotten or not your number. Yes, yes. Supriya Gowdo,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
8917.
8917550471. That is
Supriya
my
Gowdo.
number. Yes, sir.
Yes. Then, Mona Lisa, then Sneha, all three people have given.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next time you will give how many students you are interested. I will give the time. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Thank you,
Good.
sir.